I came home early from work and found my wife in bed with my boss. Not just any bed, our bed. The bed we bought together on our honeymoon. The bed where I'd held her while she cried about her miscarriages. The bed where we'd made love on our anniversary just 2 weeks ago. My boss was on top of her. Her legs were wrapped around him. She was making sounds I'd never heard her make with me. I stood in the doorway for 5 seconds, just watching, just taking it in. My wife, my boss, my bed. Then I closed the door quietly and walked away. My name is Thomas. I'm 38 years old. I've been married to my wife, Rebecca, for 13 years. We have 2 children, a daughter who's 10, a son who's 8. I thought I had a good life, a normal life, the kind of life where you go to work, come home, eat dinner with your family, and don't expect to find your wife fucking your boss in the middle of the afternoon. But that's exactly what I found. I went to my home office and sat down at my desk. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I felt nothing, just a kind of hollow numbness, like someone had reached into my chest and scooped everything out, leaving just an empty shell. My phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. "Working late tonight. Don't wait up. Love you." Love you. That's what she wrote while she was still in bed with my boss, still wearing his touch on her skin, still warm from his body. I didn't respond. 20 minutes later, my boss texted me. His name is Richard. He's 52 years old. He's been married to his wife for 25 years. He has 3 adult children and 2 grandchildren. He's been my boss for 7 years. He hired me. He mentored me. He told me I was like a son to him. "Hey man," the text said. "Got held up at the office. Won't be back for dinner. Tell Rebecca I said hi if you see her." Tell Rebecca I said hi. Like they hadn't just been fucking in my bed. I sat with that phone in my hand and made a decision. I didn't confront them. I didn't yell or scream or demand an explanation. I did something much colder. I started to plan. I pulled up the security camera footage from my home office. I have cameras everywhere. Not because I'm paranoid, but because I work from home sometimes, and I wanted to make sure my home office was secure. One of the cameras had a view of the bedroom hallway. I scrolled back through the footage. I found it. Rebecca and Richard arriving at the house at 2:17 p.m. Rebecca unlocking the door, Richard following her inside. They didn't look nervous. They didn't look like people committing a betrayal. They looked comfortable, familiar, like they'd done this before. I checked the footage from other days. I scrolled back weeks, months. There it was. Every Tuesday and Thursday, always between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Always the same pattern. Rebecca opening the door, Richard following her in. 30 minutes to 2 hours later, Richard leaving, Rebecca staying home like nothing had happened. Every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 8 months. 8 months. That's how long my wife had been fucking my boss in my bed while I was at work. I didn't feel angry. I felt something worse. I felt cold. I felt like someone had flipped a switch inside me and turned off everything that made me human. I copied all the footage. I saved it to an encrypted drive. I made multiple backups. Then I did something else. I installed a keystroke logger on Rebecca's computer. I set up a monitoring system on her phone. I needed to know everything, where she went, who she talked to, what she was planning. I was going to destroy her, but I was going to do it slowly, methodically, with complete precision. That night, Rebecca came home at 9 p.m. She kissed me on the cheek. She smelled like perfume and someone else's cologne. "How was your day?" she asked. "Fine. Work was busy." "Mine too," she said. "The kids are already asleep. I fed them earlier." She lied so smoothly, so naturally, like she'd been doing it so long that the truth didn't even exist anymore. "That's nice," I said. She went upstairs to take a shower. I heard the water running. I imagined her washing away Richard's touch, cleaning away the evidence of her infidelity. When she came back down, she was in her pajamas. She sat next to me on the couch and put her head on my shoulder. "I love you," she said. "I love you too," I lied back. Over the next 2 weeks, I gathered everything I needed. I documented every Tuesday and Thursday. I took screenshots of Richard's text messages to her through a messaging app. I found receipts for hotel rooms. I found a burner phone hidden in her car under the seat. The burner phone had explicit photos, videos of Rebecca and Richard fucking in hotel rooms, in my boss's car, in the parking garage of their favorite restaurant. I watched those videos with the same cold detachment I felt about everything else now. I didn't feel betrayed anymore. I felt like a scientist studying a specimen, like I was observing someone else's life, not living my own. I started to make my plan. Not a revenge plan yet, just a plan to protect myself. I scheduled a meeting with a divorce attorney. Her name was Patricia. She was a shark. She'd handled dozens of high-profile divorces. She'd destroyed wives and husbands with equal enthusiasm. My wife has been having an affair for 8 months with my boss. I have video footage, text messages, hotel receipts, everything. Patricia leaned back in her chair. "That's good," she said. "That's very good. That gives us leverage." "I don't want leverage. I want to destroy her." Patricia smiled. "Then we're going to get along very well."
We spent 3 hours going through my evidence. Patricia made copies of everything. She explained to me what would happen in a divorce, how custody would work, how assets would be divided. "You have a strong case," she said. "Infidelity, even though it's not always admissible in court, will influence the judge's decision on custody and asset distribution. You could get primary custody of the children. You could get the house. You could get most of the savings." "What if she contests it?" I asked. "She won't," Patricia said. "Not when we show her what we have." I left Patricia's office and went back to work. Richard was in a meeting when I arrived. I could see him through the glass walls of his office. He was laughing about something. He looked happy, satisfied, like a man who was getting away with something. He had no idea that I knew. He had no idea that I documented everything. He had no idea that his world was about to collapse. That night, I went to pick up the kids from school. My daughter, Emma, ran to me and hugged me. "Dad," she said, "Mom said we're going to Disney World next month." Disney World. Rebecca was promising the kids Disney World while she was fucking my boss. She was using their happiness as a cover for her infidelity. "That sounds great, sweetheart," I said. "Are you excited?" Emma asked. "Very excited," I lied. I took the kids home. Rebecca was there, cooking dinner. She was humming to herself. She looked happy, content, like a woman who had everything she wanted. Over dinner, she told me about her day. She talked about a client meeting. She talked about a problem at work. She talked about everything except the fact that she'd spent 2 hours in a hotel room with my boss. "You seem happy," I said. "I am happy," she said. "I've been thinking about us, about our life, and I realize how lucky I am. I have a great husband, beautiful kids, a good job. I just want to make sure we're taking care of each other, you know? I want to make sure we're still connected." Still connected. That's what she said while she was actively disconnecting from me with another man. I smiled at her. "I want that too," I said. The next Tuesday, Rebecca left the house at 2 p.m. I followed her. She drove to the same hotel where she always went, the Riverside Inn, a boutique hotel about 15 minutes from our house. She parked in the parking garage and walked inside. I waited in the car. At 2:43 p.m., Richard pulled into the parking garage. He took the elevator to the 4th floor. I knew which room they were in. I had obtained the information from a contact at the hotel. I sat in my car and listened to the rain and felt nothing. At 4:58 p.m., Richard came back down. He looked disheveled, satisfied. He drove away in his car. Rebecca came down 5 minutes later. She fixed her hair in the car mirror. She reapplied her lipstick. She checked her phone. Then she drove home. When she arrived, she immediately went upstairs and showered. Then she went to pick up the kids from school. This was her routine every Tuesday and Thursday. Fuck my boss, shower, pick up the kids, come home and pretend to be the perfect wife and mother. I documented all of it. At work, I started to notice things I'd missed before. The way Rebecca looked at Richard when we were all together. The way her eyes lingered on him just a second too long. The way she laughed a little too hard at his jokes. The way my boss looked at her, like she was a possession, like she was something he owned.
One Friday, we had a company dinner. Richard and his wife Margaret were there, Rebecca was there, I was there. We all sat at the same table. Margaret was a beautiful woman, elegant, intelligent. She was telling a story about a trip they'd taken to Europe. Richard was listening to her with what appeared to be genuine interest, but I could see the calculation in his eyes, the way he was performing the role of the attentive husband. Rebecca was watching Richard watch his wife. She was watching him perform. I was watching all of them. That night, I went home and sent an email to Margaret. It was from an anonymous address. The email contained the video of Richard and Rebecca fucking in a hotel room. Just one video, just enough to get her attention. I didn't include a note, I didn't explain anything, I just sent the video and let it speak for itself. I went to sleep that night and slept better than I had in months. The next morning, Richard called me. His voice was shaking. "We need to talk," he said. "About what?" I asked, like I didn't know. "I'm going to be taking some time off. Family matters. I need you to cover my clients for the next few weeks." "Of course," I said. "Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine," he said, but his voice was breaking. Everything was not fine. I found out later that Richard's marriage had exploded. Margaret had kicked him out. She'd hired a divorce attorney. She was taking him for everything. The house, the savings, half his retirement. She was destroying him the same way I was planning to destroy Rebecca. I felt a strange sense of satisfaction, not because Richard was suffering, but because it meant Rebecca was suffering too. She'd lost her lover. She'd lost her Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. She'd lost the narrative she'd been telling herself about their great love story. Now she had to face the reality of what she'd done. Rebecca started to act differently. She became anxious, distracted. She stopped going out as much. She stopped being cheerful. "Is everything okay?" I asked her one night. "Everything's fine, just work stress." Work stress. Not the fact that her affair had just destroyed her lover's marriage, not the fact that she was about to lose everything in her own divorce, just work stress. I let her worry for 2 more weeks. I let her spiral. I let her think that maybe, somehow, she'd gotten away with it. Then I filed for divorce. I didn't warn her. I didn't give her time to prepare. I just filed. And when she got served with the papers, she called me hysterical. "What are you doing?" she screamed. "I'm divorcing you," I said calmly. "Why? What did I do?" "You know what you did." "I don't understand. We were fine. We were happy." "No, you were happy. I was miserable. I was miserable because you were fucking my boss every Tuesday and Thursday for 8 months. There was silence on the other end of the line. "How long have you known?" she finally asked. "Since the beginning," I said. "I watched you. I documented everything. I have video, text messages, hotel receipts, all of it."
"Thomas, please. We can work this out. I love you. It was just a mistake. It meant nothing." "It meant something," I said. "It meant that you're a liar and a whore, and I want nothing to do with you." I hung up. The divorce proceedings were brutal. Rebecca's attorney tried to argue that I had no right to spy on her, that the surveillance footage was inadmissible, that I had violated her privacy. But I had kept everything, every screenshot, every text message, every receipt, every video. And I had something else. I had a witness. Richard's ex-wife, Margaret, had agreed to testify about the affair. She was angry. She was devastated. She was more than happy to help destroy Rebecca and Richard. The judge listened to all of the evidence. The judge watched the videos. The judge read the text messages. The judge understood that Rebecca had been having a prolonged affair with my boss while I was working to support the family. The judge gave me primary custody of the children. The judge gave me the house. The judge gave me most of the savings. The judge ordered Rebecca to pay me alimony and child support. Rebecca walked out of the courthouse in tears. Her attorney was already discussing the appeal. But there was more. I hadn't just destroyed my wife. I'd destroyed my boss. Because once the affair became part of the divorce proceedings, it became public record. It became something that Richard's company found out about. And once the company found out, they had no choice but to fire him. Not officially for the affair, but for violating company policy and creating a hostile work environment. Richard lost his job, his marriage, his savings, his reputation. He became the cautionary tale, the guy who fucked his employee and lost everything. I heard through the grapevine that he'd moved to another state, that he was struggling to find work in his field, that his ex-wife was still pursuing him for more money. I felt nothing about that. He'd made his choices, now he was living with the consequences. As for Rebecca, she moved into an apartment across town. She had the kids every other weekend. She had to pay me $1,500 a month in child support. Her salary wasn't enough to cover her rent and her obligations to me. She became bitter, angry. She told the kids that I was the reason their family had fallen apart. She told them that I was a monster who'd destroyed her life. The kids didn't believe her. They'd seen the evidence. They understood, in the way children understand these things, that their mother had done something wrong. My daughter, Emma, asked me one day, "Did you really spy on Mom?" "Yes," I said. I didn't see the point in lying. Why? Because I needed to know the truth. Were you sad when you found out? I thought about that. Was I sad? I'd been cold. I'd been methodical. I'd been calculating. But sad? No, I hadn't been sad. No, I told her. I wasn't sad. I was disappointed. In Mom? In Mom, in myself, in everyone. Emma was quiet for a moment. I'm sad that our family broke up. I held her while she cried, and I realized something that I'd been avoiding since the day I found my wife in bed with my boss. I'd won. I'd destroyed Rebecca. I'd destroyed Richard. I'd gotten custody of the kids. I'd gotten the house. I'd gotten the money. But in winning, I'd lost something that I could never get back. I'd lost the ability to trust. I'd lost the ability to be vulnerable. I'd lost the part of me that was capable of forgiveness. I'd become the kind of person who could destroy someone and feel nothing. The kind of person who could watch another human being suffer and experience it as cold satisfaction. I'd become a monster, but unlike Rebecca's accusations, I'd become a monster of my own making. I'd chosen this path. I'd chosen revenge over forgiveness. I'd chosen to document and destroy rather than to confront and heal. Now I had to live with that. 2 years later, Rebecca called me. She was in a bad place. She'd lost her job. She was struggling to pay her rent. She asked me if I could reduce her child support payments. "No," I said. "Please, Thomas, I'm trying to get back on my feet. I'm trying to be a better person. You should have thought about that before you betrayed me." "I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But the kids need me to have a stable life. The kids need a mother who tells the truth. I don't know if you're capable of that." I hung up. She never called again. Now, 5 years later, I'm in a different place. I'm dating someone new. Her name is Jennifer. She's kind. She's honest. She's everything Rebecca wasn't. But I can't fully trust her. I can't fully let her in. Because every time she goes out, part of me wonders if she's cheating. Every time she's late coming home, I wonder what she's doing. Every time she checks her phone, I wonder who she's talking to. I've installed monitoring software on her phone. Without her knowledge. Without her consent. I've become the very thing I hated in myself. And I know that if I continue down this path, I'll destroy this relationship too. I'll destroy Jennifer the way I destroyed Rebecca. Not because Jennifer has done anything wrong, but because I'm incapable of trusting anyone anymore. Rebecca's infidelity didn't just destroy my marriage. It destroyed me. It turned me into someone cold, someone calculating, someone incapable of love. That's the real punishment. Not that Rebecca is struggling, not that Richard lost everything, but that I've lost the capacity to be happy, to trust, to love. I've won the war, but I've lost the peace. And the worst part is, I did it to myself. I chose this path. I chose revenge over reconciliation. I chose to destroy rather than to heal. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I'd confronted Rebecca when I first found her with Richard, if I'd asked her why, if I'd tried to understand what was missing in our relationship that made her seek comfort in someone else's arms. Maybe we could have fixed it. Maybe we could have gone to therapy and rebuilt what we'd lost. But I'll never know, because I chose the path of destruction instead. And now I'm a man who has everything he wanted and nothing he needs. I have the house, I have the kids half the time, I have the money, I have the victory. But I don't have peace. I don't have trust. I don't have the capacity to love without fear. That's the real revenge. Not what I did to Rebecca, but what I did to myself. I destroyed myself trying to destroy her, and in the end, we both lost. The only difference is, she's slowly rebuilding. She's in therapy. She's working on herself. She's trying to be a better mother and a better person. And I'm still here, still monitoring, still checking, still waiting for the betrayal that I'm sure is coming. Because once you become someone capable of that kind of cold calculation, once you cross that line from victim to perpetrator, you can't ever go back. You become the thing you hated, and you have to live with that knowledge for the rest of your life.